Around here we were talking about our own huge announcement, and that's probably the recommended video that you're going to see in the lower left-hand corner. That's definitely one to check out here within the next few days before June the 30th. We have to talk about a monumental announcement, a milestone in American history that occurred today, and that was the Supreme Court striking down all of the bans on same-sex unions or same-sex marriages within all 50 states. So it is now something where same-sex individuals who opt for marriage, there's finally equality, is the best way to put it. There is finally equal love. Love is now something that is available in this format, in the format of matrimonial institution. To all of those who are involved, this is no longer something where a state or a legislation is able to say no. This is monumental, not only for the history of this nation, for the history of its people, but also it's monumental, and I don't even want to dive into politics or anything like that, mainly because I don't want to dive into that because there's really no political gain here. There is no political gain for the president who is not able to go after a third term, obviously, and it's impossible to do that. This is honestly something where if you wanted to do this, you would aim to do it before a second term or something like that. But politically speaking, this is something where the president and the members of the government will be celebrated for making a great decision, for actually looking at human life and actually looking at American life and looking overall at equality and what the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the three main things that all Americans should be guaranteed, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and ruled in favor of the pursuit of happiness. But it's more so the fact that this is a decision that affects so many people within this great country, and affects so many individuals that have had their hearts broken in the past, that have had their lives troubled and littered with messages of hate, with messages of disgust, and literally there's been a shrouded smoke or a mist of really potential destruction that has sort of been encircling them throughout most of their lives, at least. If not that, then certainly within their most recent lives. There have been blockages. They have not been allowed, in some cases, to have this freedom, and they have not been allowed to really cement and put that special milestone marker to their love with their mate, with their significant other, and not until today. Not until today. This is a huge decision for all of these individuals, and something that comes after many years of debate, something that comes after a maelstrom of individuals that have come out and really exposed themselves to be some really despicable human beings, some really despicable individuals. And I say that not because they bring up a view that counteracts with one that is either that of my own or that of all of the individuals who are now affected positively by this change. It's more so the way in which these individuals were able to place and put their message out there. The words that they used, the phrases that they coined, the ideas that they were really pandering throughout this experience were very, very hurtful, and I don't think they even understand how that they're very hurtful. Many folks use the concept of religion, but by and large, whenever it gets to the end of day, most of the folks that were crafting some hateful arguments did not use religion as their backbone. And in fact, there have been a lot of religious institutions that came out in support, that came out in support of this, in backing this, being really for it. And then, of course, we heard the words of Pope Francis earlier this year. And there is just a lot of positivity beaming that way. I think back to early April whenever there was a bus accident that involved two heavy metal bands. I think back to all of the negative speech that was really, slung their way based around the type of music that they play and based around the kind of band that they were and still are. And I think about how these individuals really judged a book by its cover, or judged a group of individuals based around what they did as opposed to who they were. Now I understand that this is the same thing that could say, well, if you call a Klansman a bad person, you're really judging a book by its cover. And really, there's a good chance that that's a true statement. Not all Klansmen aim to do the things that other Klansmen do. And that's really kind of an American lesson. But I think one of the biggest reasons why America had such a difficulty accepting this, and why I think so many still do, is because of one simple idea. And that's America cannot imagine, or actually in this case refuses to imagine, the shoe being on the other foot. There are individuals that have lost friends, that have lost family members, that have been essentially disowned or excommunicated for feeling the way that they do, for being who they are. And those individuals that take that road, that take that low road, as I'll call it, of disowning or disinteresting themselves from these individuals, never ever think, what if the shoe was on the other foot? They never think, what would it be like if it were me? Which is amazing to me. Incredible to me, even, considering it seems like every other aspect of human life, these are the same individuals that think to themselves, what if it were me? There was just a shooting in South Carolina. They would think, man, I'm really glad that that didn't happen to me, but what if that did happen to me? What would we do? What would be? They're asking the questions of what would happen if they were to die, how the family would go on, almost as though they needed that selfish awareness that they would be remembered. Man, I almost got injured in this car accident, but what if I had been going 5 miles per hour faster, or what if I hadn't slammed on my brakes whenever I had? You can think about all of these little instances that involve a bit of selfishness, that involve you, but whenever it comes to involving someone else, you can't, or these individuals at least cannot seem to place themselves in that position and understand the struggle that they're going through, principally because they themselves perhaps have never struggled in their lives. Either that, or they have made it through their struggle and they do not want to think of another. This is a terrific and amazing day for all of these folks involved. Whether they be those who actually are of the same sex or the trans, distinction, the folks that are actually going to be able to go out and get married based around this decision. This is also a tremendous and monumental day for those who were really campaigning for them, who were walking with them, who were their equals and treated them like equals, like we should, considering we're all Americans, considering we're all human beings. It's a great day for all of those involved, and anybody who attempts to piss on that parade, quite frankly, will be the one that is pissed on, considering a lot of you liked to use the idea that, well, it ain't legal and it ain't gonna be. It is now, motherfucker. I am extremely happy to hear about this. This is wonderful news. I guess for me, I think of all of the people and all of the lives that this decision, this monumental choice is going to touch, affect in such a positive way, that it really just, it makes me smile. It actually gives me a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of hope, because if there's one thing that this country needs, if there's one thing that this country really requires in the next 10 to 50 years, we need to repair ourselves quite a bit. And by doing this right here, by this decision being rendered, that repairing process begins. That repairing process starts. And now we can continue to foster that and move on to the next aspect of humanity here in America that needs repaired. Because we are a very divided nation, ones that can't seem to really unite. And I understand that there's free speech, freedom of opinion and everything, and the idea of unity sometimes gives some people some false expectations, either that or some false ideals. The word communism, for some strange reason, always seems to come up. That's really not the aim. Whenever you think about it, America was a country that was able to bond together throughout so many periods of human history, throughout so many periods of American history. And even whenever they decided to split into two, eventually the two came back together. This decision here is the first in a long line of enhancements that this country can help make for itself. And to anybody out there who happens to be watching this video, if you now have the ability, if now, based off of this decision today, you know that you can walk down to a courthouse or go somewhere and get married to your significant other, whether you've been with them for 6 months or 16 years. Because I know that some of you have been struggling and have been together through it all. Some of you, in fact, there's a lot of you out there that have outpaced whenever it comes to time, whenever it comes to love, and whenever it comes to true affection. Whenever it comes to struggling together and making out of it together, banding together, bonding together, and letting the struggle not define you, but instead have the struggle help you guys come closer together, help you girls come closer together, and become an even stronger rock. If you're able to walk out that door today, whenever you're watching this video, and get married, that one quest that you've had for so many, many long, arduous weeks, months, or years, I want to say that I wish the absolute best for you. I am so happy and proud, and I am overjoyed that you have that option finally in all 50 states. There will still be naysayers out there. This will not end the problem. I guarantee you that. There are enough loudmouths out there. There are enough people who will attempt to push their weight and try to get their way to rain on this parade and hop onto your cloud and try to push you off. You've made it this far, ladies and gentlemen. You've made it this far. You will continue to fight, and you will continue to win. But for now, this is your day. This is an amazing day in the 200 and say, oh wow, 220 or 238 years that this nation has been together. Actually, I think it's 239. This is a proud moment. And for those of you who don't have the capacity to actually feel genuine pride and genuine emotion of positivity toward these individuals, what the hell's wrong with you? Seriously. They're all people. I will turn to an argument that I have made countless times. You taking away this from them would be like if I became the President of the United States and through my conniving, evil genius powers took away Christianity, or took away baseball, or perhaps I'm going to take away Justin Bieber or One Direction. Maybe I'm going to make rap music illegal or make heavy metal music the number one, the American music of choice. Maybe I'm going to ban bird watching, or perhaps I'm going to deconstruct the, Mount Rushmore and make it all 4 heads of myself, or I'm going to fill up the Grand Canyon with Jell-O, and no one's going to be allowed to visit it anymore. Think about the things that you love. Think about the things that define you as a person. And now think about those being taken away from you, and you never having the option and the ability to experience those things. To experience whether it be the glory of God or the majesty of nature. Could you live with that? Would you fight for that? If the answer to those questions are yes, then you understand them. Then you understand why this is such an important battle. And I think you'll be able to understand and appreciate a little bit more what these folks have gone through, and what this means for them, and what it means for America. And maybe just maybe, it will soften up your thought process and soften up your your ideology toward this, and actually cause a bridge to be formed, as opposed to a bridge being blown up or a gap being there permanently. An amazing day for America, ladies and gentlemen. Beaming with pride right now. Beaming with pride. God bless the USA.